awake and long to quench this desire. I'm the phoenix eternal, child of the sun, till its heat turns me into a blazing fire. Oh, into a blazing fire.
Night is just a little less hot, but Mantha knows it's small consolation to the sick and dying birds in her care. When Mantha isn't teaching music at school, she's looking after birds. She's been doing this for years now, but with every passing year, Mantha has seen it becoming worse.
Summer is the worst for us when it comes to our bird rescue activities, for the very reason that we do receive a lot of birds that have suffered from a heat stroke, and many of them don't live because they are terribly dehydrated, and we do find birds who have started bleeding from their noses.
Mantha too lives in a city that doesn't realize that the rising temperature is going to hurt a lot more than it will its rural neighbors.
As a child in Coimbatore in the 1930s, 40s and 50s, even up to 60s.
In the 50s, I was growing up in Bangalore.
Especially summer was very pleasant. We did not need any fan.
And it was a no-fan station in those days.
Almost every house will have air conditioner now.
It has got very, very warm, and people have fans in their houses, and most people have even air conditioners in their houses.
And without air conditioner, their life is miserable.
Mantha, a part of 35% of India's urban population, is dismayed with the escalating electricity bills. More fans, coolers, ACs. What she doesn't see in the bill is growing urban heat stress. The urban heat island effect is becoming common globally. Heat islands occur when urban concrete structures trap heat, recording higher temperatures than the outlying open areas. The India heat story, with its burgeoning urban infrastructure, is headed toward 2030, with 160 to 200 million people exposed to lethal heat waves every year. As more and more migrate to cities, urban spaces edge out the cooling green surfaces. In Mantha city, like most congested cities of India, many urban features add to the degrees. Concrete, metal, tar, and glass. These structures fast absorb and retain the sun's heat, at times going beyond 85 degrees Celsius, only to release this heat at sundown, making city nights warmer than they would be. The homeless and the poor don't have the means to escape this night heat and can get perilously dehydrated. Slums crammed with metal and heat-trapping material become many degrees warmer than the surrounding habitation. Naturally, we demand more cooling, more electricity. Most of our electricity, unfortunately, comes from fossil fuels, which is why heat islands also mean higher greenhouse gas emissions.
Ecology of a particular neighborhood, or the health of the ecology in a particular neighborhood, has a lot to say about how healthy the human beings in that area are. So I think they're deeply connected.
A World Bank report warns around 34 million people in India may face job losses due to heat stress. Heat will impact the entire economy. Just food spoilage during transportation due to heat costs us $13 billion annually. The children, the elderly, and the sick are indeed more vulnerable, but no one is spared. To add to the misery, landfills with their garbage mounds spew methane, carbon dioxide and nitrous oxide. They feed the already thick blanket of greenhouse gases that trap the city heat. Very often, these gigantic dumps catch fire, adding to the suffering from the localized heat and toxins in the environment. Heat coupled with humidity may be unbearable for humans and mount as birds. But these are optimal breeding conditions for disease-carrying mosquitoes. In the past few decades, we have endured recurring epidemics of dengue, malaria, and chikungunya. Even as the circle of fire that threatens to make urban life unlivable closes in, cities are acting on urgently finding solutions. They've mandated green belts and parks as buffers to combat heat waves. The simple act of planting trees with wide canopies has made a tangible difference in the local temperature. Heat curfews and multiple water points help citizens cope in the short run. Now, cities are also taking a radical approach to tackle the heat. They're using advanced mapping technology to pinpoint hotspots. Heat mapping is an absolute game changer. It goes far beyond temporary quick fixes, showing the way for enduring, no-regret solutions for the future. Climate simulation and heat mapping analysis predicts that with every passing year, we'll see a higher number of heat wave days that last longer. Just being outdoors for a short while could lead to a fatal heat stroke, even for a healthy adult. With this future scenario, preparation is key. Geographic information systems enable us to accurately assess urban growth and to predict events of extreme heat emergencies and their impact on our citizens for the next 5 decades. When we juxtapose our heat maps with land use maps, they can tell us specifics like where should trees, parks or water bodies be installed for maximum benefit, or where a hospital can serve best. In urban reforestation, such scientific data studies can reliably inform us about what kind of tree plantation will create the most cooling effect in what sort of areas. With mapping data, we can analyze where terrace gardens and green roofs can make a significant difference. This data also highlights the role of green architecture in alleviating heat. Our traditional architecture has rich examples of how local material and techniques were used to insulate the building.
It is good to learn from the old buildings and understand how they are performing and incorporate to suit our modern requirements.
They ingeniously used solar passive structuring to deflect the intense heat of the day. They designed airflow to reduce or even eliminate the need for artificial cooling.
If you keep too much of opening in the west and too much of opening in the east, it will bring in more heat. And even the openings, it is good if it is shaded. So that way we can reduce heat.
Policymakers can drive change in urban architecture by incentivizing the use of energy-saving materials. They can promote sustainable architecture. Their policies can also encourage designs and techniques like innovative roofing and walling solutions that lessen the effect of the harsh sun.
It is good to look at insulation, the thickness of the roof also. It is good to look at increasing it with good tree shading.
It is the next generation that will bear the brunt of the growing impact of climate change. By involving college students in heat stress measurement and mapping, cities empower tomorrow's citizens with essential knowledge in heat mitigation.
When we see a structure or when we analyze a building, like the studies that we've conducted right now, the things that we have studied, they will always stay with us and will in one way or another affect our architecture, our environment that we are building in.
Students collect vital data on land use, building types, density, vegetation and fauna.
Going on the surveys made us realize that how we can start planning from the start. The houses which are built are just built randomly, and it's like no sustainable aspect to it. So obviously I would use the local material that is available to build and to mitigate heat actually.
Such detailed data serves to create maps with even higher resolution and accuracy, radically improving our ability to assess and predict outcomes.
The students who were collecting the data and doing the survey, they came and gave all the data and values to me, and I was the person who was documenting all that on QGIS app.
1 meter resolution mapping is invaluable for precise local interventions and capturing the effect in areas as small as a building site or patch of pavement. Armed with such quality data, policymakers can prioritize and take informed action. Heat action plans emerging from such decisions can safeguard citizens from extreme heat. Will we create an inhospitable wasteland or a livable paradise? The answer lies in the collective actions we take today. Unlike our feathered friends who cannot choose, we can. We can be aware. We can take steps to avert and reverse the lethal effects of heat. We can, like the phoenix, rise from the ashes.